What's good, boy dudes and boy dudettes? And today we've got another Walt Disney feature animated movie, and it's Bambi, a 1942 animated film directed by David Hand, produced by Walt Disney, and based on the book Bambi, A Life in the Woods by Austrian author Felix Salten. The film was released by RKO Radio Pictures on August the 13th, 1942, and it is the fifth Disney animated feature. Um, the film pretty much is about Bambi, and well, who is Bambi? In this Disney classic, a young deer named Bambi joins his friends, a rabbit named Thumper and a skunk named Flower, in exploring his forest home. As a boy, he learns from his doting mother and father, the great prince of the forest, that there are dangers in the open meadows where hunters can spot the animals, and he meets a beautiful young doe named Faline. As Bambi grows up, he learns that there is tragedy as well as beauty and joy in his forest world and on the path to adulthood. And before we give my overall opinions of this film, let's talk about the development of this film. And this film, Sidney Franklin, a producer and director by Metro Goldwyn Mayer, purchased the rights to the novel Bambi, intending to adapt it as a live action film. And after many years of experimentation, he decided that it would be way too difficult to make such a film, and he sold the film to Disney in 1937, and Disney went on to create their animated adaptation immediately after getting the rights of this film. Um, Originally, the film was intended to have six individual bunny characters, similar to the dwarves in Snow White. However, Pierce suggested that they could instead have five generic rabbits and one rabbit with a different color than the rest, with one tooth, who would be a very distinct personality. And this character later was known as Thumper. And uh, although the animators had animated deer in Snow White, they were animated, in the words of Eric Larson, like big flour sacks. Disney wanted the animals in Bambi to be more realistic and expressive than those in Snow White. And he had Rico Lebron, a painter of animals, come and lecture in the animators on the structure and movements of animals. The animators visited the Los Angeles Zoo, and Disney set up a small zoo at the studio with animals such as rabbits, ducks, owls, and skunks, and a pair of fawns named Bambi and Faline, so that the artists could see firsthand the movement of these animals. And the film was released literally in the middle of the World War II during 1942. And I don't think it did too well at the box office initially because it was during the war. It lost much money out of the box office. On a budget of 1.7 million, it only grossed 1.6 million. The film was released during the Second World War and lacked access to the European market. Roy Disney sent a telegram to his brother Walt after the New York opening of the film that read, "Fell short of our holdover figure by 4,000. Just came from musical, unable to make any deal to stay third week. Night business is our problem." The film is now France's 24th biggest film of all time in terms of admissions, with 10.7 million tickets sold. And at the time the film's release, Bambi received very mixed reviews from critics, mainly because of the lack of fantasy elements in the film and objection towards a dramatic story of animals and their struggle to survive in the woods and avoid the threat of humans. Hunter spoke out against the movie, and in the 1942 editions of the magazine Outdoor Life, editor Raymond Brown wrote that the film was the worst insult ever in any form to American sportsmen. And the New York Times claimed, in search of for perfection, Mr. Disney has come precisely close to tossing away his whole world of cartoon fantasy. And yeah, at the time, people they weren't too keen on it. However, as time went on and as the film was being re-released in the cinemas, people had a change of heart, and Bambi is reviewed as a classic and recouped a considerable amount during the 1947 re-release and many re-releases after that. And from 1947's re-release up till now, it has made a total of 267 million overall. So yeah, it's done pretty damn well. So what do I think about this film? Well, let's talk about the good. And what I like about this film is the use of the multiplane camera. Now, if you don't know what the multiplane camera is, it's basically a technique where the artists would draw background images in separate layers, and they would actually move the camera in a way to create a 3D look to it. That is how I'm going to explain it in simple terms. And I like some of the panning shots, especially in the woods. Like when the camera just pans, it feels like you're actually in there and you're sucked in. And I freaking love that, you know. I also kind of like this, like the, I don't know, like the music and the background. It's kind of it has this kind of like chilled out vibe to it. It feels like one of those Sunday afternoon movies you'd watch, you know. And it's very laid back, to be honest with you. Bambi, Thumper, and all the rest of the characters, they're all cute and amazing. They're pretty awesome. But as a kid, I always thought Bambi was a girl for some reason. Everywhere I went, every single Disney store I went to, Bambi was on every single girl's t-shirts and all that. But I had no idea Bambi was a boy until we had that little time skip in the middle of the film. And that really surprised me. Even Thumper I thought was a girl. I thought all the main characters were female because they all sounded like girls. And yeah, it surprised me, but they did a good job. Bambi, I have to admit, out of all the Disney films that came before it at the time, is kind of the not so visually appealing film. Like, I like the animation. The animation is pretty damn fluid, and it was Disney's first feature film at the time to only have animal characters and no humans. And I think they did pretty damn well capturing the liveness of these animals in their drawings. I think they did a pretty damn good job with it, to be honest with you. And I do like the music in the background. It's your classic 1942, music. But obviously everyone knows Bambi very well for that big twist. Now, if you, for some bizarre reason, haven't seen this film and you don't want to be spoiled by this twist, I won't spoil it for you. But yeah, that scene freaking scarred a ton of people's childhood. I remember that kind of shook me to the core, and a little bit when I was a kid watching it, and it did surprise me. But yeah, but I have to admit, apart from nice character animation, I have to admit this movie is kind of standard, to be honest with you. This movie is the most dull looking Disney film I've seen. Just looking at it, nothing just seems to pop out until we get towards the end where there are some really intense fighting scenes. I'm not going to ruin it, but they really do play with lighting and colors in that scene. But throughout the entire film, it has this kind of like standard muted like color look to it. It's very dull looking at times, and it's like when you compare it to like Pinocchio, it's just, it doesn't look that great. Even Dumbo looked a bit better than this. The backgrounds are gorgeous and beautiful, and you have to appreciate the fact that they did this on hand, but even so, it doesn't pop out. It just doesn't stick out, and that's probably another reason why I didn't really watch this film as much as a child. I always skipped this movie despite having the VHS of it as a little kid, but I never watched it all the time because it just never appealed to me in any fashion. It was just there, and I acknowledged it, but hey, what can you do, to be honest with you? But apart from that, this film is a Disney classic. Not much to say. It's your average Disney film. It does get much better towards the end, I will say that. The animation gets better, the colors get better, the whole plot gets good. I like seeing Bambi grow up and him becoming a man after what happened to him as a child. And I like how he's been reunited with all his friends, and it is cool. And with that said, I'm gonna give Bambi a 6 out of 10, and I'm gonna give it a B. Not the best Disney flick, to be honest with you, but not the worst. It's just kind of forgettable, to be honest with you. But thank you for watching this review. Please like and share this video and comment down below and tell me, did you like Bambi? What's your favorite Disney film? With that said, thank you for watching. Boyd is signing out.